Cheddar Bay biscuits, Lobsterfest, endless shrimp. For decades, Red Lobster was the place you went when you wanted seafood without living anywhere near the sea. It was an American icon. But recently, in 2024, Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy. The headlines blamed one thing: endless shrimp. But that's not really why the chain sank. The real story is about how its owners, first a private equity firm, then a seafood supplier, treated it more like a cash machine instead of a restaurant. This is the rise, the gutting, and collapse of America's most famous seafood chain. Red Lobster started in 1968 with a simple promise: seafood for the middle class. By the 90s, it had more than 700 locations, $2 billion in sales, and was part of the casual dining room boom alongside Olive Garden, Applebee's, and Outback. But Red Lobster wasn't just another chain. It had cultural weight. For many families, this was the treat meal: birthdays, graduations, anniversaries, or the rare splurge when you wanted to feel fancy without breaking the bank. Lobster tails and shrimp platters in a suburban strip mall felt like affordable luxury. It was so iconic that when Beyoncé name-dropped it in her 2016 hit, Formation, sales spiked 33% that weekend. Everyone got the reference, because Red Lobster was part of the shared vocabulary of middle-class America. And of course, there were the Cheddar Bay biscuits, a cultural phenomenon in their own right, with people joking they went to Red Lobster just for the biscuits. They even became a grocery store product. But by the early 2010s, the tide was turning. Casual dining as a whole was softening after the Great Recession. Families ate out less, and when they did, fast casual chains like Chipotle and Panera were more appealing. Fresher food, quicker service, and lower prices. Young diners often saw Red Lobster as outdated. It's more like a place where your parents go, not somewhere new or exciting. And seafood was always more expensive than pasta or burgers, so it was harder to deliver on the same sense of value that Olive Garden could with its endless breadsticks. So while Red Lobster still carried cultural weight, its business reality was slipping. It remained a symbol of middle-class aspiration, but one that was starting to look like a relic of an earlier dining era. By the time parent company Darden Restaurants decided to sell it in 2014, Red Lobster wasn't just slowing down. It was already losing ground in a dining world that had moved on. When Golden Gate Capital bought Red Lobster in 2014, they weren't focused on fixing the food or the brand. What they were focused on was squeezing money out of the brand. Their biggest move was selling off almost all of Red Lobster's restaurant buildings and land for a quick $1.5 billion. And this was devastating. For decades, Red Lobster owned its restaurants outright. Once they bought the building, they didn't owe anyone rent. But after the sale, Red Lobster had to pay nearly $200 million in rent every year on those same buildings. And the contracts had automatic rent increases year after year, no matter what. So, to understand this, imagine owning your home outright. Okay, and now imagine selling it, only to rent it back from the new owner, with the rent going up every year. That's what happened to Red Lobster. Private equity firms like Golden Gate do this because their job is to deliver quick returns to investors, usually within a few years. Selling the land gave them a big payday right away, but it left Red Lobster with a permanent new bill that drained cash year after year. The chain went from treading water to swimming with an anchor around its neck. Golden Gate cashed out pretty quickly. In 2016, seafood giant Thai Union, the company behind Chicken of the Sea, bought in, and by 2020, it was Red Lobster's biggest shareholder. At first, it seemed like a perfect match. A shrimp supplier owning a shrimp-hungry restaurant chain? But in practice, it was a disaster. Red Lobster cut out most of its other shrimp vendors and became almost totally dependent on Thai Union. That gave Thai Union the power to set higher prices. Executives inside the company even named them the Shrimp Mafia. At the same time, Thai Union cut corners where it mattered to customers. Less money for marketing, fewer remodels, weaker staff training. Restaurants aged, service slipped, and the menu barely evolved. And because Red Lobster burned through 5 CEOs in just 3 years, no one was around long enough to fix it. Why would Thai Union run it this way? Well, it's because they weren't really thinking about Red Lobster as a restaurant. They were thinking about it as a guaranteed buyer of their shrimp. Even if the chain was struggling, Thai Union still got to sell more product. So just like Golden Gate, Thai Union looked out for itself, not the long-term health of Red Lobster. In 2023, an interim CEO rolled out the Ultimate Endless Shrimp promotion year-round at $20. Customers flooded in, traffic rose 4%, and Red Lobster lost $11 million in a single quarter. Some locations literally ran out of shrimp because Thai Union, as the sole supplier, couldn't keep up. It became a meme. Customers had eaten Red Lobster out of business. But here's the truth. Endless Shrimp was only 14% of its $76 million annual loss. The other 86% came from heavy rent, high food costs, and constant leadership changes. Endless Shrimp didn't sink Red Lobster. It was just the joke that revealed how badly the ship had already been taking on water. Meanwhile, the whole dining world was changing. Millennials and Gen Z preferred fast casual spots like Chipotle and Kava. Work from home meant fewer office lunches and after-work dinners. Rising food and labor costs pushed menu prices higher, and many diners traded down to cheaper options. Casual dining share of U.S. restaurant sales dropped from around 36% in 2013 to 31% in 2023. Olive Garden survived by leaning into its comfort food identity. Applebee's survived by bringing back cheap drinks and regulars. Outback stayed consistent, but Red Lobster, they were stuck in the middle. They were unsure if they were a special occasion place or just another casual chain. In May of 2024, Red Lobster filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It listed more than $1 billion in debt, just $30 million in cash, and by that time had already closed over 90 locations. Bankruptcy lets it renegotiate leases and restructure, but it will emerge smaller. Its lenders are expected to take over unless a buyer steps in. There are rumors of Darden swooping back in, or Landry's, which has a history of buying struggling seafood chains. But as of right now, Red Lobster is surviving on life support, hoping a smaller footprint and cleaner balance sheet can give it a second chance. What happened to Red Lobster is more than a restaurant story. It's a case study in bubbles, passing the bag, and of course, greed. Private equity saw the chain's real estate as a quick cash out, and they stripped it. Thai Union saw the chain as a captive buyer and milked it for shrimp sales. Each owner passed the bag to the next, extracting value while leaving Red Lobster weaker along the way. It's the same playbook we see in housing bubbles, dot-com booms, even cryptomanias. Everybody makes money as long as they can pass the bag to someone else. But eventually, someone gets stuck holding it. For Red Lobster, that meant the company itself, its employees, and its customers. Endless Shrimp didn't sink Red Lobster. Endless greed did. And that's the real takeaway here. When businesses stop being run to serve customers and instead become tools to serve investors, suppliers, or landlords, collapse isn't a question of if, it's a question of when. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've ever taken down a mountain of endless shrimp or watched your local Red Lobster close, two very fun activities, please let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the rise and falls of brands that shape our culture every month.